Almost ready to start. Waiting for my printout. Welcome everybody to Wellness Wednesdays. This is Yehuda Shamroth. Thank you for joining me. I've just got a little bit of a delay here, waiting for my stuff to be printed out. Okay, we can start though. Okay, this is Winter Wellness. I'd like to do a lot of topics, sometimes revisit the same topic because it happens to be very relevant now. We're still in winter, and we still need to figure out how to keep ourselves healthy, even during the winter months. Here in Israel, it's cold, and rainy just for a couple months a year. And we do try our best to keep our kids and ourselves healthy at this time. So just give me 1 minute to go get my printout, and I'll be right back. Okay, here we are again, everybody. Sorry about that delay. 6-minute delay. Sorry about that. This is Yehuda Shamroth speaking to you from Ramat Beit Shemesh on Wellness Wednesdays. I haven't been on in a while. I try to go once a month now because there's so many things going on in my life. Baruch Hashem, thank God. And we do want to make sure that we get everything done in our personal lives before we start to do extra stuff too. So that's one way to keep yourself healthy and well. So let's talk about winter wellness today and building our immune system. I did several episodes on this kind of topic in the past because of COVID and things like that. I would do regular, if you're interested, regular COVID updates. I do periodically. They're on my YouTube channel. That is RBS Acupuncture, Yehuda's Shamroth Acupuncture channel on YouTube. And I also am live now on Facebook Live on my Facebook page, which is RBS Acupuncture, of course. And I'll put these things down here. And you can send your comments. And I'm trying to look for RBS Acupuncture is my .com. I also have a website and Facebook page. www.facebook.com. Okay, without further ado, let's go back to our slides because they're much more interesting. Share screen. Okay, let's talk about health and wellness. And winter wellness in particular. Let's build our immunity. Now we've learned a lot over the years, or over the last 2 years from COVID, and but because it's flu season again, this is an ongoing situation. So we have to keep ourselves vigilant and try to keep ourselves healthy no matter what the weather. And things are a little bit different in the winter than they are in the summer. So let's just give a little bit of introduction and general advice. I've checked with a lot of different experts and a lot of different websites. Basically, because it's flu season again, you just can't give up on keeping yourself healthy. But there are some specific things that we want to focus on in the winter. And because I also have an involvement with Chinese medicine and acupuncture, in addition to regular Western medicine, the Chinese have a very different way of looking at taking care of oneself in the winter time, which will be interesting to hear about. So why do we get sick in the winter anyway? It's just because the flus, they live longer than we do. They've been around for lots and lots of years, and we have different strains. So the general advice is just to keep yourself healthy as possible at all times, and trying to give yourself, the best leg up, as they call it. And we know that from previous experience with the COVID also, that people did the worst, were the worst off, or the ones that were not in good health to begin with, or they were obese. A lot of obese people were really affected terribly by these viruses. People who had pre-existing conditions like hypertension and diabetes and the obesity factor and the age factor. Kids got it too, of course. There are kids that got it, but we don't know how to predict how everybody's going to be affected by being sick. But we do know one thing, that keeping yourself healthy all year round is going to give you the better chance of survival from something like another pandemic, or to just keep yourself generally healthy all year long. So just keeping your health in mind, you want to make sure we're going to focus on our sleep to make sure it's sufficient and regulated, exercise regularly, give ourselves self-care is a newest term. that people like to talk to. Be kind to yourself. That's something that the Chinese focus on for the winter. Playtime and exercise, movement is very important. Spend your time with people. Of course, with the pandemic, that was one of the biggest problems, is that people became very lonely and very isolated. We want to keep a diary of things that keep you healthy and keep you thinking things that will help keep you lift your spirits and get you through a long winter. Some people have something called seasonal affective disorder, which I'll mention. And you have to know when you need help, whether it's a medical help, whether it's Chinese medicine too, whether it's psychiatric or psychological help or any assistance, whether it's shopping. Do not be afraid to reach out. There's going to be someone that will help you. So, of course, we want to, besides keeping warm and dry, and keeping, right now it's pouring rain here in Israel. Before I get to the sleep issue, I want to talk about the fact that there's so many different things you can do just to keep yourself warm, even if you don't want to always the hot air, dry air blowing on you all the time, because that's one of the things that passes the germs around. We know when we're on an airplane, that air just circulates and circulates and circulates, and people can get very sick from it, just passing each other's germs around. Similar in your home too. So you want to dress warmer in the house and keep your temperatures a little bit on the cooler side. You can wear socks, you can wear sweaters. Don't want to restrict your blood flow though, but you want to make sure that you want to keep your head and neck area very, very warm, and keep out of the rain. If you're wet, it sounds very simple. And I know these seems like ridiculous recommendations, but you would be surprised at how people don't take care to ensure that their bodies are comfortable and warm and taken care of. And you want to be fully clothed, obviously, in weather like this, whether it's snow or whether it's rain or just chilled. You want to, the body diverts the blood flow to the center core, and you don't want to have to, take the blood away from the hands and the feet and even the head. The body's going to send the warm blood to the most important vital organs. So, do you know that you can wrap yourself up very well with just lots of nice thin layers? There's such a thing called a kidney wrap, which you can wrap the lower part of your body. And it's so interesting because in Chinese medicine, the kidney is the focus of the winter time. It's associated with winter months, and they focus on taking care of their kidneys during the winter. Compression kidney wraps especially are very popular. You can put foot warmers on in your shoes and in your gloves. I know we have a lot of soldiers, and we try to take care of them by giving them, it's not going to be such a natural product, truthfully, but it's a chemical that they can put inside of their little packet. They can put inside of their gloves, and they break it, and it warms up their hands for a little while anyway. Again, a lot of these things are tricks and recommendations that your mother would have told you to do. Stay warm, cover your ears. I lived in Buffalo all my life. I never wanted to wear a hat because I didn't want to mess up my hair. So, we didn't listen to our mothers, and a lot of us did get sick. You can put hot water bottles in your bed. You can bring blankets with you in the car in case you break down somewhere. These are the kind of tricks that we did actually learn to do in Buffalo also, because our cars broke down quite often, and you didn't want to be caught. One time we had to use our laundry to put on our heads and our hands because we were stuck in traffic and it was a snowstorm, and that we didn't have any blankets in the car. But you just want to make sure you keep your fingers and toes warm and your head and neck, and that already is going to keep you very, very healthy. We want to make sure we're on top of spreading the germs. I don't have any slides for that, but hand washing, there's no replacement for hand washing all the time. And when you cough, don't cough into your hands, cough into your arm. That's a great way of not spreading the germs. And I know people don't believe in masks anymore. I still see people wearing them, and I think a lot of it's for their own protection, and that's fine. I don't criticize anybody for, it's not going to keep the virus, some of the very strong viruses away, but it will, it forms a barrier. If somebody's going to sputter or sneeze on you, sometimes it's better just not to have them go right in your face. And they're also trying to protect others. I know people who do have a very bad cold, and they say they're wearing their mask because they don't want to cough on others. And I think that's a very considerate kind of situation. So you want to limit the spread of germs, and use, don't go overuse your hand alcohol gel, but use your alcohol gel whenever you think you need it. Okay, and another thing too, I don't have a slide, but we know at all times to stay hydrated. Drinking enough water will boost your immune system and help you fight the viruses. It's like flushing all the toxins out of your system. So you want to make sure, hydration is a very key thing, whether it's winter or summer. And we live in the desert here too. So we really like to make sure that we're hydrated at all times. So we have to remind ourselves, because we are in the desert, to just keep drinking as much as possible. And again, that keeps your immune system functioning well. if you're already healthy again. And so we want to make sure too that you manage your dry skin. You want to make sure you have humidifiers. You want to make sure you wear creams, use your creams, and of course hydration, because dry, cracked skin is very unpleasant. So that's something that happens often in the wintertime. And you're not going to want to hear about this, but if you want to get vaccinated, well, go ahead and do that. Some people over 65 are recommended. People who are very, have very compromised immune states, they might be better off. I'm not going to go into that topic of vaccinations, but we do know the flu shot has helped and saved a lot of lives. So whether you agree with it or not, you'll just decide for yourself. Okay, so what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about sleep. I think it's important. A little bit about sleep and how much do you need. It's different. It's not different for different seasons necessarily, but again, the Chinese will say that this is a time to catch up on your sleep and to try to join the pattern of the nature. So since the sun goes down earlier, the Chinese recommend that you go to sleep earlier, and a lot of us don't do that because we stay up with our computers and our phones, and we have lights in the house, obviously, and we do a whole lot of things in the evening. But truthfully, winter is the time we should be just sort of closing ourselves a little bit more and protecting ourselves a little more, just so we can do some regrowth and so we can do some resting and rejuvenation. And so how much sleep you need is something that is individual. But if you want to just keep your bedtime consistent, you want to make sure that you try to go to the bed at the same time, so you don't get into an insomnia pattern. You want to keep the rhythm going, the circadian rhythm going. And I'm not talking about people with insomnia, but the average person should probably get some more sleep in the winter and you can even sleep in later. That's even something too, which we're not accustomed to as Westerners. We want to get as much work done as possible at all times, no matter what the season. But the Chinese say go to bed early and get up late. And that's actually a nice thing. And your body can really rest and rejuvenate that time. You feel more energized. And it's really, this kind of advice is helpful all year round anyway. But you want to get some exercise during the day. Try to get 7 hours. I know everybody doesn't need that. Try not to stimulate yourself with the phones before you go to bed. No caffeine at night. Alcohol can cause drowsiness, but actually that makes you feel a little bit more awake during the night. I see people have very restless nights when they drink a lot of alcohol. They don't actually sleep so well. But calming teas like chamomile and a little bit of food or drink to help so you don't wake up hungry in the middle of the night. That might be something people might want to do as well, and keeps the immune system very healthy. Again, the Chinese recommend gentle exercise in the winter. Now, people still go to their workout clubs, and people still go to their have their routines of running and jogging and things. It's fine if your body can handle it. Just honor your body and do what's good for you. But again, the recommendation, whether it's Western or Eastern, is that the wintertime is the time to just rest and rejuvenate yourself. So maybe things like yoga or Tai Chi or stretching is something a little bit better than going for a run in the freezing cold. It just, again, depends on who you are and what's good for you. But as long as you get enough good sleep and good quality food, exercise shouldn't be a problem for you at any time of year. But wintertime, maybe you don't have to do as much. But it does boost your overall health. So you just make sure you do get some exercise every day. Heck, even a little bit of activity counts. Low intensity activities, walking, just helps boost your metabolism. And there's a big movement now to do just short bursts of exercise all day long. So move yourself once an hour. Just get up from your desk at work or your desk at home and just do some stretches or jog in place once an hour for 2 minutes. And that's supposed to be a very good, healthy way to keep the balance going in your metabolism. Dancing, yard work, anything you can do that could just be, they can be low intensity. It doesn't have to be high intensity exercises. It doesn't have to be aerobic, but it has to be something that pumps the blood to the muscles and keeps the warmth going, and that helps all the organs work well and together as well. So you want to make sure you do some kind of exercise a little bit every day, and that especially if pertains to people with seasonal affective disorder, which I mentioned earlier. You want to make sure these are people who can be very depressed because their hormones are are shifted somehow, and they don't feel like they feel very low and very kind of depressed in the wintertime when they don't have exposure to enough sun. So the first thing you really want to do is to go outside once every couple of hours if you have this, and just get a little bit of light, a little bit of sun on your face. Be aware of it too, so you don't get yourself into a pattern where you feel you're going down a deeper hole where you can't recover from it. Get as much natural sunlight as you can, or even you can get lights put in your home. So they're not as good to have the fluorescent lighting. We talked about that on a couple of episodes back. Fluorescent lighting is kind of the worst thing, but if it helps you prevent you from becoming sad and depressed, you have to have some kind of light therapy. They do have different types of light boxes and things. There are medications, but you want to make sure you just keep in touch with people and take some regular exercise. And maybe you can go to a warmer climate for a little while. It might be a good time for you to take a little vacation. So you want to talk to a professional if you're feeling like you can't get out of bed. And if you feel like you want to hurt yourself, of course, you want to make sure you talk to somebody, because serotonin is the happy hormone. You want to make sure you can regulate that serotonin. And we know that when we take vitamin D, that helps quite a lot. And if you take good care of your digestive system, this is where the serotonin molecules are first created. So we know now that there's a connection between the digestive system, the gut health, and the brain health. So you want to keep your digestive system very, very healthy and in good shape. So in addition with a good vitamin D, so that you can produce the best amount of serotonin naturally. And if you need a medication, don't be ashamed of it. Just go and do what you need to do. But there are so many different natural ways you can try first. Acupuncture, herbal medicine is also part of that, and exercise and daily light therapy. Okay, again, we want to avoid the seasonal illnesses. How can we do that? You just want to take good care of yourself, okay? We know with asthma, your really cold air can trigger your symptoms. So just make sure you're dressed warmly and make sure you keep your inhaler with you. If you already have pre-existing conditions, take extra vigilant, good care of yourself. Like I mentioned earlier, these are the people that were the worst off during the COVID pandemic, were the people who started off with pre-existing conditions that were in terrible shape and they did not take good care of themselves. If you have cardiac conditions, make sure keep warming, keep taking your medications and visit your cardiologist regularly. If you have joint pain like arthritis, you just want to keep everything warm, and you want to make sure you take warming and moving herbs and medicinals and remedies, like I'll mention in a little while. And again, moving will also help. Stretching and moving actually helps joint pain. You want to make sure, again, with the viruses, you want to just general winter health, stay warm, and isolate yourself when you need to. Hand washing is really crucial. Now, if you have cold hands and feet, like a Raynaud's syndrome, or if you're smoking, or you have very cold hands and feet, make sure you wear your gloves everywhere. You might even have to wear them indoors and cut the tips off, but don't get into a situation where your hands are freezing cold, because you will lose the circulation to your fingers. You just exercise them, move them, and wear gloves where necessary. There are also some nice pastes, herbal pastes you can make with turmerics and coconut oil and things. You can rub it on your skin and it warms up the skin. And they're called moving and warming herbs. They're right in your kitchen. I'm going to mention them in a few minutes. Things you can do to not just help your winter wellness, because they're antibacterial, antiviral, but they're also so warming that they can be used for arthritis and joint pain as well. And again, we mentioned dry skin before. Just take good care of using your moisturizers and wear gloves when appropriate, when you're washing dishes and all that kind of stuff. Okay, we want to talk about certain things, certain type of foods that are very helpful during the winter, and what kind of healthy diet. We know it's going to be a healthy diet. That's a given. We want to know what to choose to eat and drink, and what's good for our lifestyle choices, obviously, but what's good for our immune health. So we know that a diet filled with a variety of colored fruits and vegetables are always the best. Berries, citrus, red cabbages. We know they have all the what we call phytonutrients, and then the more colorful, the better, the more vitamins. And we want to make sure we focus on flavonoids, chemical compounds that are found in plants that help fight inflammation, because inflammation causes illness and aggravates illness. So we want to go with our green tea, coffee, dark chocolate, certain greens, and things that are good in flavonoids. So you can try supplements also for immune health, which I'm going to talk about what the recommendations are. And you want to just keep the calories at a general balance. You don't want to overeat in the wintertime because you're not getting as much exercise. There are people that do crave more food during the winter. They want comfort foods, like soups and teas are, of course, the main things that people usually gravitate to, which is wonderful. They do know that the sunlight, it does trigger the release of hormone serotonin. So we want to make sure we keep our serotonin levels up, like I mentioned, and make sure we have enough adequate carbohydrates and healthy fats to keep those serotonin levels from dropping. So we want to talk about things like soups for sure. But again, here's what the food or drink recommendations are for winter. We want warming winter foods. Eat foods that grow in your season. I know the macrobiotics, it's a very big thing with macrobiotic eating, is eat seasonally and eat what's only grown in your area. And it's got to be very, very beneficial to the body. So you want warming winter foods, and you want to include all those nice spices like ginger, turmeric, chilies, onions, the vitamins and minerals that'll be involved in all those green leafy vegetables and all the bright, colorful fruits and vegetables. Eating the rainbow, they say. So you want to eat enough fat, but healthy fat. Try to avoid junk food all year long, but especially in the winter when your body, you don't have enough, you don't have as much physical activity going on. So people do tend to gain weight during the winter. I know that. And again, stay hydrated, drink plenty of fluids, and healthy herbal teas, green teas. I know I mentioned in every single episode because I believe the green tea is the best antioxidant and anti-inflammatory there is. I make a big bottle of water this big. I don't have one with me right now in terms of the tea, but I put 2 cups of tea in a bottle of water this size, 1.5 liters. 2 cups this size of tea in that bottle, and green tea, and I drink it all day long. And I get my allotment of water that I want to drink during the day, and I get my 2 cups of green tea, which is anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. Okay, so the Chinese, again, they like to work on the concept of warming yourself in the winter and cooling yourself in the summer. How's that for logical? But it's just this is how they teach it too. They teach you they teach their people, all their culture is such that they automatically know this, but they're also teaching that you stay indoors, you sleep more, you eat warming foods. And it seems, again, very intuitive, but people don't do it. Our culture doesn't seem, we have to be reminded. So we know that all these things that are in your home already are nice and warming. The herbs are called warming and moving herbs, ginger, cinnamon, and then lamb is supposed to be the most logical thing to eat at this time of year, according to the Chinese, because it has more, it's dense in its calories. They eat something called rice porridge or oatmeal. Salads and sandwiches are rare. You don't see that so much in the Chinese culture. They do avoid a lot of sandwiches and cold foods like raw fish or like sushi and that kind of stuff. Even though we are under the impression they eat it all the time, they do avoid it in the winter because you want to always nurture and warm your body with nurturing foods. TCM means traditional Chinese medicine. Of course, their winter foods are warming, and they can use tonics, which I'll talk about in a minute. They say that the body needs salty foods at this time and black colored foods to warm up, like the lamb and black beans. And there's also some seaweed that's black. There's all these, they do eat different foods than we do, but they say it helps nourish the kidney better. So examples of salty and bitter foods would be miso soup, soy sauce, seaweeds, radishes, citrus peel, and watercress and quinoa. These are supposed to be very good warming foods for the winter and nourishing the kidney and nourishing all the organs. Of the black colored foods, black sesame, black fungus, which are like the seaweed, black beans, black rice, black pepper, warming. Again, we eat warming foods, but on the other hand, we want to have to offset it with certain cooling things because you can't eat a diet of only warm things. So you want to mix it with different things as well. You want to go make sure you're hydrated again. If your oranges, blackberries, strawberries, all these are all the anti-inflammatory things, of course. The pecans, chocolate squares, and the green tea are always popular all year round, and especially in the winter. So again, when you're going to eat your fats, make sure you eat your healthy fats, good fats versus bad fats. We talk about this in probably every episode. The bad fats, of course, being the processed foods and the very bad oils, like the canola oils and things like that. We want to make sure we have fat in our diet because all of our hormones are made of fat. Our nervous system has a double layer of fat to make it function properly. So everything really requires fat for our nervous system to be healthy, for all of our organs to be healthy. So, and it makes our food taste good. It helps us absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K. It helps maintain brain function and makes everything work well. Omega-6s and omega-3s, we know we can take our fish oil, and we want to make sure we keep the healthy fats like salmon and avocado and nuts and olive oil and things like that, and olives. Did this already. Now, these are some other examples of really healthy foods you can eat all year round. So we want to talk about recommended supplements. This is left over from the COVID lecture, but it's still about the same. You want to support your immune function. You want to make sure you have enough vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc. Quercetin is something you can add to it as well. Quercetin is a substance found naturally in red-colored foods, but it's very highly anti-inflammatory. So you want it for a supplement that can give you quercetin. Melatonin helps regulate your sleep, and probiotics keeps your digestion very healthy. So these are the recommended vitamin D3, 1,000 to 4,000 international units a day. Vitamin C, you might want to take 1,000 to 2,000 a day. And this is whether you're sick or not. You see, people are still taking these things regularly every day, including myself, just as a preventative. Okay, there's a lot of antibiotic alternatives out there we can talk about. I also just want to say one more thing about vitamin D. I don't have slides on it, but vitamin D is here. I know it is because I printed it out. Okay, so if you have low vitamin D levels, you're going to have a problem. You may be susceptible to illnesses and get negative effects to your mental health, and your immune system will really drop. So, sunshine, of course, is one way of getting vitamin D. But how else are we going to get vitamin D? Some people take 4,000 to 6,000 units a day. I was saying before, the recommendation is 1,000 to 2,000 a day. There are people that take upwards to 6,000 international units because they really feel like this is going to keep their immune system at top level. So again, in the summer, we expose ourselves to sun, and they get a lot of vitamin D that way, even just 10 to 15 minutes a day. But in the winter, you're not going to get a lot of sun exposure. So you can take things like cod liver oil, wild seafood. Mushrooms are very, very good in vitamin D and very helpful for the immune system. So the best ways to increase your vitamin D would be to load up on the foods that have good vitamin D in them. So, and when your vitamin D is low, here's another thing. You'll feel fatigued. You won't be sleeping well. You might have bone pain, hair loss, muscle weakness, loss of appetite. So if they're familiar, you need to check out and get your vitamin D level checked. But anything like fatty fish, canned fish, sardines are really yummy, actually. Herring and sardines, egg yolks, beef liver, fish liver, and certain cereals and milk, if you can take dairy products, obviously, and almond milk, soy milk, and orange juice will give you that vitamin D is it is considered a hormone too, so we really need to keep our levels up. We want to take our zinc, it helps boost the immune system, and vitamin C, of course, we know helps repair tissues and helps the immune system as well. One of the natural products they like to recommend nowadays is echinacea, which is here, this purple plant here. Echinacea is something that you can get from health food stores everywhere, or you can get it from Chinese medicine practitioner. So there's something in the immune system called cytokines, which are a group of chemical messengers, basically, that they alarm the immune system when there's danger. And so echinacea comes in to support this immune health, and it can help the cytokines fight the infection. So we have a lot of products out there with echinacea in them. There are teas out there. On a daily basis, you should be taking echinacea. There's a product they have here in Israel that I force my kids to take, my big kids, my adult children. It's called Winter. It's got echinacea, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. It's got everything all in one pill, which makes it a lot easier also. But you want to support the normal activity of the white blood cells, and you want to support the immune cells and from foreign invaders. And this is what echinacea can do for you. There's something else out there called NAC, N-acetylcysteine, L-cysteine. And when you have all these free radicals floating around in your system from chemical reactions, they can punch holes basically into your cells. And the NAC will gather up these free radicals to prevent them from doing cell damage. So it kind of gathers them up, sweeps them up. And so it supports your body's natural army to protect your immune system as well. And it supports liver detoxification as well. And so you want to eat things that you know are naturally antiviral, naturally antibiotic, naturally antibacterial. So echinacea is one of those things they recommend, and that is recommended. And then to talk about more natural products, we have, of course, all of the more things in our kitchen, like garlic. Garlic is the biggest natural antibiotic you have in your house, probably. And it's known to fight a wide range of infections and illnesses, including the common cold, including flu. I know when my kids are sick, we used to give them, honey is also in this category of antibacterial, antiviral. We give them a spoonful of honey and chopped garlic 3 times a day. And it really takes care of the symptoms of a cold. It goes away much quicker. Tastes terrible, but they do it. My kids are still doing it at the age in their 20s. They're still doing this. They know that's the first thing they turn to when they get a sniffle and a cold, other than winter, which I make them take also. They forget. What else? Antibiotics. This is a natural, the biggest antibiotic there is garlic. Kills E. coli, salmonella, boosts immunity, and helps fight off bacterial infections. There's something called golden seal, which is actually the powdered form as it's seen here. Golden seal grows almost everywhere freely, and it's a natural antibiotic also, and it's good for colds and flus. It's also called orange root in the United States. It takes care of also bladder and vaginal infections and common winter. It's most commonly given for sinus infections. So if you're going to go to your health food store, find something with golden seal. If you have a very, very bad sinus infection and you don't want to take an antibiotic, because we know antibiotics really wreak havoc on our digestive systems and really gets rid of our good bacteria. It disturbs the whole balance of the microbiome, the digestive system. So you want to try to reach for the natural products first. Okay, so you have a sinus infection, reach for your golden seal. It's the most common thing you're going to find. It also helps treats strep throat and diarrhea, gum disease, and pneumonia. It's a multi-purpose kind of herb out there. Licorice, not the kind of candy licorice that we eat at the stores, but natural antibiotic. Licorice is a superpower of antibiotics, and it helps with respiratory problems. You'll see it in a lot of herbal formulas because it helps harmonize all the other ingredients together. It can help treat hepatitis, cirrhosis, herpes, flu. It makes a lot of claims, but HIV and SARS and coronaviruses are also shown to respond to natural licorice. And it tastes good too. And it's even used to treat conditions like eczema, asthma, Lyme disease. Again, we talked about echinacea. It's like it is a solution or an alternative to a pharmaceutical antibiotic. And it does open the airways right away. So you see it with a lot of respiratory formulas. It's of course an immune stimulant, an inflammation fighter. It's great in tea, as I mentioned, and it's found in so many different places and so many different products. And so you should just make sure you go get some echinacea. Just keep it in your house, and people of any age can take it. Aloe vera, as you can see in this picture to the right bottom, it's a natural antibiotic also, and it's an alternative to taking antibiotics. It's good for gum disease, hypertension, also asthma, Crohn's disease. It's because it's very naturally anti-inflammatory as well. And with the first thing we know about aloe is it treats burns, and the reason why it treats burns is because it cools it off, cools the burn, and decreases the inflammation. Helps relieve asthma symptoms too. Another thing we could try is coconut oil. We have that on the picture here too. Coconut oil is growing in popularity all the time as an alternative to, that's one of the healthier fats you can eat, I didn't mention. You can use it as a lotion. It heals dry skin in the wintertime and all year round. You can make toothpaste from it. You can make shampoo from it. You can make facial creams from it. It's got antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties. And so it's really wonderful and very useful to have around the house. People use it in their mouth to do something called oil pulling. They swish it around their mouths for like 10 minutes in the morning. And they say their dental care has never been better, and they don't have as many cavities, and they get rid of all the bad bacteria in their mouths. Tea tree oil is an essential oil. I like to use essential oils in many parts of my practice. I give them to people just about every day for every possible purpose. They don't cure things necessarily, but they're very medicinal because they're concentrated portions from healing plants. So something called tea tree oil, also called melaleuca, is well known for all kinds of antibacterial, antiviral, and antibiotic reasons. So you put it on the face for acne. You can use it for rashes, soothing burns, treating warts, healing insect bites. Tea tree oil is good for clearing vaginal infections. So you can use it, spritz it in the air in a diffuser. So you can have people, it clears the air, it cleans the air. So during this cold season, it's really wonderful to use a diffuser with all kinds of different herbal or essential oils that will, like all the oils that I mentioned, you can use, tea tree especially, and lavender oil. You can put this in the air, and you can eucalyptus, peppermint, all these different things that are warming and moving and antibacterial and antiviral. It's good to just, and it smells great in the air too. It smells wonderful. In fact, there's something you can make called which I do make for people occasionally. I'll talk about tonics in a minute. There's something called a flu bomb. It's a recipe you can make with all of the best of the anti-cold and anti-flu oils. And I do sell doTERRA oils. I believe that they're a good brand. So you can put veggie capsules. You can buy empty vegetable capsules and make your own little pills, or you can put them in a roller, or you can put them in a couple drops in a diffuser. But these together, the lemon oil, oregano oil, melaleuca, which is the tea tree. On Guard is actually a blend of a lot of different things, and frankincense oil. And they all together will be, you can take them at the first sign of a cold and a flu, and you'll see it go away very, very quickly. Cayenne pepper is also something considered to be a natural alternative. Turmeric, apple cider vinegar, and ginger. There's many more, of course. The last thing I want to mention were tonics. Something you'll have to go to your alternative medicine, Chinese medicine practitioner for, probably, to get danshan or ginseng. You want to just get your body revved up a little bit more than it is, because you need the extra activity. If you don't have the extra activity, you might take in the form of a tonic that will tonify your digestive system and your lungs and all the different organs. So these are different things that will tonify your body. Red dates is another thing, would be called goji berries. They're very good for eye health and for liver health. Chinese yams, pumpkin, potatoes. You just make a chicken soup, basically, and you can put all of these different things in it, and you have the most medicinal soup ever. It's antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-flu and anti-cold. I don't put the walnuts in the soup, but you can put all of these different things in your soup, including mushrooms, which are, of course, very, very good for boosting the immune system. And with that, I think I might just end and hope that you have a very happy, healthy winter, and that you can take some of these ideas home with you. And if you want to find out more about medicinal foods or immune-building soups, which I make often, or these essential oils, please contact me at rbsacupuncture.com, or check my Facebook page out, and can come in and communicate with you that way too. I hope you all have a very happy, healthy winter, and we'll see you next time.